What is going down, squad? We see you out in the chat. You know the vibes. Beard, the beard takes a little while to get looking glorious like this. It takes some. It's hilarious though, because if you guys know, and we'll get into this in a little bit. What's up, squad? Uh, when I say beard loading, my beard is really loading. I'm literally like trying to get some product in it, get it not looking so crazy. You know how it goes. But hey, we're here. And we got some topics to talk about today because we have yet to formally go back and really review the 49ers draft class, talk about it in depth, and only talk about just that. So, what we're going to do is we're going to go through the entire class for the San Francisco 49ers. All the picks that they selected, we're going to go through each individual one, talk about the impact that each player had on the year, and we're going to throw a grade at them. I think it is important to note specifically that this isn't a final grade, right? Because they're rookies. Let's be honest. At the end of the day, these guys have the potential and likelihood to continue to improve and get better. So this isn't a final grade. It is, what would we call it, the rough draft? Maybe I don't know what we're calling this, because honestly, if I'm going to have to go ahead and evaluate draft prospects, I want a solid minimum 2 years. I want a minimum 2 years to understand what we're looking like before I feel like I can give a definitive answer. But guess what? It is just like school, DJ. It's the progress report. Boom. So this is more likely. This is more likely. It's a little bit of a progress report. Progress reports have grades, so we're going to go through it that way. It's going to be, we're going to give them grades because that's what we're here to do, but just want to put an emphasis on this isn't a final grade. This is an end all be all. This is a progress report. I like that. Good job, Ron. Welcome, boys and girls in the chat. We see you guys. I hope you guys had a fantastic weekend. So we're going to get into the grading, but we're also going to talk about some of the quarterback rumors, right? Would it be the San Francisco 49ers if we weren't attached to 40 million quarterbacks? So we're going to talk about that. There's still more things coming out. So we'll get to the kind of rumors, news, notes at the end. Let's get into the meat of the topic. Let's start grading draft picks. And this way, we are actually going to go in reverse. So we are starting with the very last pick, fetching the break. Appreciate you for the congrats on 32K. Thank you to you guys for 32K. We just hit 32,000 subscribers on YouTube today. Sheesh. Sourdough Squad deep. Smash that like button. You know what, DJ? I'll let you make the call. What are you vibing? DJ is our resident like aggregator. He's going to make sure we're getting those likes in. We're smashing that like button. Hit that sub button. DJ, I'll let you set the goal limit today. That's that. I'm going to put that on you, my boy. You deserve the honor because the SDS, like yeast, we rise. Let's go. Love it. Love it. Captain DJ's going to set it. It's the only right way to do. I like this. Perfect. I think that is achievable, and it gives us something a little bit to reach for. So for our like goal for the day will be 175 likes on the video. We'll see if we get there. I know DJ is going to be checking all the way, but let's get into it. All right. Let's talk about the 2021 NFL draft. And as we know, there's a lot of hype going into it. A lot of hype, right? We were very, very excited about the initial trade up to 3. But that's all we really talked about, right? For a solid two months pre-draft, we really only talked about the quarterback. So it's fitting that we actually going to start with someone else, and we are going to start with the man, the myth, the legend, Elijah Mitchell. So this is how we're going to do it. When I pull up a new prospect and we're going to go through the grading system, we are going to poll the chat per usual. So as I start talking about some of the things that they were able to execute in their rookie season, we are going to get the initial grade from the chat. So let's start right here. Drop it in the chat. What are you grading rookie running back out of Louisiana Lafayette in the 6th round? Drop it in the chat. Let's see. And while you guys drop your grades into the chat, I am going to pull up or talk about some of the accomplishments that he had. And as we know, Elijah Mitchell, he was the second running back drafted. He wasn't even the first in this class. However, the first in this class for the 49ers, that being. He was one of the last rookie running backs to be selected, again, out of Louisiana Lafayette in the 6th round, pick 194. So he was getting close. He was getting close out there of being, maybe an undrafted free agent. I don't know. We'll see. But right now, the chat is flooding with easy A pluses, lots of A pluses. We got 3 A pluses, A plus A. So the chat is feeling very good about the boy Elijah Mitchell. And again, 6th round draft pick. 6th round draft pick. So far, the chat is in cahoots. We like the easy A 4. Oh, we got a C? I don't know about all that. So far we got an A. It's pretty dominant across the chat. Elijah Mitchell in last season, he rushed 207 times for 963 yards, 5 touchdowns. But that was in 11 games. That was in 11 games played. Elijah Mitchell almost was a 1,000-yard rusher in his rookie season in only 11 games. So if you were to take that stat line and you were to average it out over a 17-game season, essentially what that comes down to is on 306 rushing 306 rushing attempts over a 17-game span would have netted Elijah Mitchell over 1,487 yards. So I think that is a situation. In it, I might have mistaken and said 11 games played. It was 11 games started. 11 games started. Now, clearly, he missed a handful of games due to injury. In multiple portions of the season, we lost him early, and we lost him kind of towards that playoff push at the end. But still, in those 11 starts and the games that he played, he was still able to rack up 963 yards receiving, 5 touchdowns. And like I said, he was on pace for nearly 1,500 yards. So for me, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to agree wholeheartedly with the chat. I'm going A plus. We're going A plus right here. And part of this grading process and how we're kind of going about it is where you're drafted really matters for these particular grades. Again, 6th round pick, almost 1,000-yard rusher in his rookie campaign. That's legendary. And again, he would have been technically entered training camp, fourth on the depth chart. You had Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson, Trey Sermon probably was ahead of him. JaMychal Hasty probably was ahead of him. And then you got Elijah Mitchell. So Elijah Mitchell based on, and we are doing plus or minus. We are. Good question. We are doing plus or minus, but I'm giving Elijah Mitchell 6th round draft gem, A+. Boom, stamp it. Again, considering the value, considering the production. Now, there's wear and tear, and he missed some time. There's injury concerns. However, when you're getting that production out of a 6th rounder as a rookie, A+. Now, that grade will continue to evolve as he grows, but so far, A+. And we're starting out hot, but I will give you a little spoiler. Only A+. Elijah Mitchell was the only A+. He really did a fantastic job. He really did. And again, we saw him get better at the end of the year, which is even more impressive, in my opinion. So for Elijah Mitchell, the consistency that he brought when he was available, the ability that he started to show at the end of the year with his vision combined with his physicality and burst, it was nice. But let's move on. So first one, A+. Second one on the list will be Talanoa Hufanga, 5th rounder with 180th selection. So only 14 selections earlier than Elijah Mitchell. Talanoa Hufanga goes off the board to the 49ers in the 5th round out of USC. What did you guys think Elijah Mitchell, Talanoa Hufanga was graded at? Drop it in the chat. Drop what you believe Talanoa Hufanga should be graded at for his rookie year. Now, remember, this is progress report. This isn't a final. This is year one tag. What do we think? Because in year one, Talanoa Hufanga started in 3 games. He appeared in 15. He got into a little bit of injury concerns towards the end of the year. But for the most part, he was a player that we would see on special teams. He was a key special teamer. He was a key rotational guy on the defense. And we're seeing right off the bat, there's a lot of differencing of opinions. And this is where I like this. Yes. We got B+ from DJ. We got C+ from Raptor. Hufanga gets a C+. Amateur Draft Scout throws a C-. We got a B. You can see right off the bat. There's a lot of differentiating of opinions, but the average does seem to be falling around B. Based on what the chat is saying. Jason's dropping an A-. And again, remember, draft status is a huge factor for the progress grade. The value in which the 49ers were able to get based on your draft selection, 5th round for Talanoa, what he was able to do. Again, some of the big highlights from Talanoa. You had the Tundra touchdown, baby. Scoop and score of the block punt from Jordan Willis in Lambeau Bay. Gave the 49ers a chance to come back into that game, and they won it. He scored that touchdown. He got the scoop and score. Even in that same divisional round game, you had Talanoa with great coverage in a bit of a bracket, looked like bracketed coverage on Devontae Adams. He was all over it, and he did a great job on that specific rep. And then if you go back throughout the year, there were plays that were made by Talanoa. There were some that were missed. But I will say Talanoa, at least from what my eyes told me, was in position to make plays. And for a 5th round rookie, I thought it was pretty. I thought it was pretty solid. I thought it was pretty solid. And again, value, draft range, the value that he provided, that's a part of it. That is a part of it. And so, as a rotational guy, I mean, we saw Talanoa in a lot based on sub packages, whatever. Like, there was clearly a plan for Talanoa throughout the year. There was a point where it did kind of feel like Talanoa was going to get the starting job, but Tart did a good job of holding that down. On this one, this is what I'm giving Talanoa. I'm personally giving Talanoa a beautiful big B for baller. And Brad, because why not, right? I'm giving him a B. Again, based on draft value, 5th round pick, 180th selection overall, was a key special teamer, key rotational player, made big plays when it mattered. I'm giving him a big, beautiful B right in the middle. Boom. Bang. What other B sound effect noises can we make? Boing. Bing bong. Bing bong. Talanoa Hufanga gets a B. Welcome to the show. So I like it. And I think when we look at the overall scope of Talanoa, I think the only thing that anyone can really question. Let's go. The only thing that can really be questioned, I'm gonna say, is long speed. That's it. Long speed. When we're looking at single high situations and you see Talanoa Hufanga back there, only thing that really comes to mind is long speed. Everything else, I think Talanoa's really good at. Like when it comes, like if they decided they wanted to play him at linebacker, I think he would be good in that specific situation as well. If they wanted to play him around the line of scrimmage, I think he'd be good in that situation as well. He's proven he can do it in coverage. He's smart, cerebral. He's going to put himself in great position to make plays. So, as we know, 49ers are pretty good. The 49ers are pretty good at finding value late. Again, famous 5th round pick, George Kittle. I believe Dre Greenlaw is a 5th round pick. DJ Jones is a 6th round pick. Emmanuel Mosley's an undrafted free agent. So the 49ers do find success when it comes to late round selections and or undrafted free agency. So with Talanoa, I think he has great upside. I think he has a place in this league. I don't think he's going to bust out. I think he's going to be one of those guys that you see on a roster for 10 years, potentially 11 years. Just one of those guys. And we're going to see if that B can eventually turn into an A. And an A to us looks like starter, starting safety, and a guy who plays in play in, play out, does what he wants to do. But now the grades start to sour a little bit. They start to sour a little bit. And this is where I think the grade point average, I think, would start to slip. But we know what's next. With the 172nd pick in the NFL draft, the San Francisco 49ers select cornerback Deommodore Lenoir, Oregon. Now, this one was interesting because Demo came out hot. He came out guns blazing. Like, it all started with the viral video from training camp. It all started with him going crazy, I think against Austin Watkins Jr. He just clamped him in a one-on-one, and he started out hot. He got a pick on. This is a picture of him after he intercepted Patrick Mahomes in preseason. He got a start, I believe, against Philly. And then, unfortunately, we really did not see Demo after that. Demo, after that Philly game in week 2, we saw a little bit of him in Green Bay, and then it just felt like we never saw Demo again. It just felt like we never saw Demo after that. And so it's quite the interesting case study, because if you don't remember, there was a lot of hype around Demo. There was a lot of hope. There was a lot of oh, this might be a guy. He showed some promise against Philly, against former Heisman winner Devontae Smith. So he showed some promise, but unfortunately, he just kind of, I don't know, just kind of faded. And we didn't see much from him, whether that was, just, and we've seen this from other rookies before from this coaching staff, though. They'll come out hot, but you don't really develop the way, kind of lost his rhythm a little bit. And we just never saw him again. But overall, started 2 games, 12 solo tackles, 5 assisted tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 2 pass deflections. So considering, again, let's keep in mind he's a 5th rounder. So we're not always going to be looking at 5th round cornerbacks to be plug and play. We're not always looking at 5th round cornerbacks to be like, hey, 5th rounder, you're in the 5th round for a reason. We expect you to go out and start day 1. So that's not how it's always going to be. But I think the average of the chat grade, I think it's pretty accurate. I'm going to give him a D+. The reason why I'm going to give him a D+, because I see the traits. I see the skill set. I don't think he's a wash player. Like, I don't think this is a guy that we are just going to see bust out the league. He's not going to be on the team in another year or 2. I think there is a lot of potential, but one of the things and one of the places where we saw him play was on outside corner, and I think Luke does a really good job here. He feels more like a slot corner. Now, is he capable of playing outside? Probably, but it does feel like his natural place and position will be on the inside, playing slot corner, where he can get his hands on guy, because he's great with press. One of my favorite things with Diamador is his press. His man press coverage, when you're at the line and he gets his hands on you, he's got good hands in regards to rerouting wide receivers, forcing them to work off the line of scrimmage. So I see a more natural position of him being a slot cornerback. So that could be an opportunity where he's competing next year. I don't think they're going to give him the role. I don't think they're just going to be like, hey, Demo, here's the slot corner. KK is not going to return, so we're just going to turn it over to you. So if he was able to sustain, or at least sustain some relevance throughout the season, it would have easily been a C. He easily would have been a C. Again, 5th round value for a cornerback who's showing he can be relevant in the NFL. I'll take it. I'll take that. So the problem why he wasn't able to actually obtain the C, again, progress report. This is where progress report really means progress report for him, is just because we didn't see him. So not being able to see him, and again, we knew what the issues were at cornerback. We were already extremely light at cornerback. So for him not to be able to get on the field, and, get passed up by guys like, again, not even in consideration to play down the stretch is either Dante Johnson, Josh Norman, or Ambry Thomas. You didn't hear one single word about Diamador. So if he was able to be a little bit more consistent at that point, then I would be able to feel comfortable dropping him into that C range. I have him at D plus right now. D plus right now. And again, I think he's going to have an opportunity to raise that grade this year for sure. But again, the kind of fall off is why he kind of fell into a D plus. But overall value, if he turns into a player, is not bad. Not bad at all. Audit the Lambs. You might have to explain to me what this means exactly, Tommy. What are we auditing exactly? What exactly are we doing? Audit, my friend. But let's move on to the next position and the next draft pick. So, as you can see, we started out pretty good. And that was our first kind of below average player. And it was almost average, almost just average. But again, the way it kind of teetered off there at the end of the year is kind of why we, again, knocked him down a little bit. But this, I think, is going to be a polarizing grade. I'm very interested to see what the chat looks like in regard to this grade. So drop your grades for Jaylen Moore, 5th rounder, selection number 155 out of Western Michigan. He started at left tackle versus the Colts, if you don't recall. He either started or came in at right tackle versus the Jags. I believe it was he came in. I can't remember if McGlinchey got hurt in that game or before that game, but I do know we did see Jaylen Moore against the Jacksonville Jaguars. They put him in at right tackle, and he got benched before halftime for Tom Compton. Tom Compton came in, never saw Jaylen Moore again. Week 18, Jaylen Moore, Trent Williams. Trent Williams went down with the ankle injury, and I think it was at least amongst the fan base, me included, really felt like Jaylen Moore was going to get that start at left tackle, kind of like he did against the Colts, and he did pretty well against the Colts, but he didn't get the start at left tackle. They put a guard at left tackle. They put Colton McKivitz. Now, I like Colton McKivitz. I think the 49ers like Colton McKivitz. But it didn't work with him at right tackle. It wasn't a natural fit. However, if you were with us on the channel, we talked about it. It wasn't going to be a natural switch. It wasn't like we were just going to put Jaylen Moore at right tackle and he'd be better than he would be at left tackle. He's a natural left tackle. Switching technique like that is not easy. Going from left side to right side, everything is reversed from a footwork standpoint. And so it didn't work at right tackle. Okay. Well, left tackle was available to be filled. They filled it with a guard. And shout out Colton McKivitz. Colton McKivitz did a hell of a job. Against the Rams week 18. But what does that say more about Jaylen Moore? Make sure you smash that like button. Let's get to 100 real quick. Smash that like button. Let's get to 100 real quick. I bet we could do it. 0 to 100 real quick. True. This is very true. When week 7 against the Colts, he was serviceable and he was able to showcase against the Colts his natural pass blocking ability. Now, was he great in the run game? No. And that's been the knock on him since coming out of Western Michigan. His claim uh, to being an athletic specimen is his natural pass blocking ability at tackle. Was great at it in college. Was great at it in the NFL. At least good at it. Could start and do well. But not starting week 18 is interesting to me. Not starting week 18 when the left tackle position was available to be filled by Jaylen Moore, it was not him. It was Colton McKivitz. And so to me, that is a ding on the overall grade. So because we would want him to be in that position, to be able to slide in and fill in for Trent Williams if he wasn't able to go. And especially in a big game like that, it really felt like we were going to see Jaylen Moore. It's going to be a game time decision. It's going to be Jaylen Moore. No, they knew the whole time. They knew the whole time if it was a game time decision, it was Colton McKivitz. It was not going to be Jaylen Moore. So that is going to be a bit of a ding on at least like if it was between like a flat grade and plus or minus either way, it's enough to ding, in my opinion, at least half a letter grade. Because again, same kind of conversation with him as Demo. Started out hot, started out good, but there's a bit of a decline. We want to see prospects ascend, not go down. So because he went down and we didn't see him week 18, and we really didn't see him the rest of the year, even though he started well against the Colts at left tackle, I am tagging him with a C minus. So again, that week 18 game has the ability to swing that grade from a C minus to a C plus. If he played just as decently as he did against the Colts, that grade swings from a C minus to a C plus. So I'm tagging him as a C minus. I think in the 5th round, a competent offensive lineman who could start and has started and was successful in a game, that's good. Good value. 5th round, I see traits. Again, he's a natural pass blocker, the kick step, balance, it's all there. Where he needs to improve is in the run game, physicality, and balance in the run game. If you can figure those things out, he can be a starting caliber offensive lineman in this league. But that's why I have him kind of at a C minus. It was started out good against the Colts, had a really, really tough time against the Jags, but we knew that. But the issue was then not seeing him week 18. So we drop him down to a C minus. Again, that is the difference in him being either a flat C or a potential C plus. So Jaylen Moore comes in C minus, number 155th overall pick, 5th rounder. Not bad. Has an absolute ability to shoot that thing up. And no. He's not a guard. So that's the other thing. He's not a guard. He is not a guard. That's where he struggles the most. So you would effectively putting Jaylen Moore at guard, you take him out of what he does best, and then you put him in a situation that he's least effective in. I don't think that would be the best outcome for getting success out of guys. But I know how it goes. But if there's anything that we've learned this year, it's that shifting offensive line all over the place, it only works with a certain kind of person. And again, is another reason why Daniel Brunskill is valuable the way he is. But not everyone can do what Dan does. Not everyone can play all 5 positions. It's really not how it works. So with Jaylen, I see him again as a situation where could have been better, but overall, solid value. Solid value. DJ says, Brad, why the hat backwards? This is actually how I wore my hat all the time. The only reason I actually wear my hat forward is because of residency. I'm actually a backwards hat kind of guy. If we had to pick, I'm a backwards hat kind of a guy. All right. Moving on. So let's do a quick recap. Elijah Mitchell, A+. Talanoa Hufanga, solid B. We put Diamador Lenore, D+. Again, and decent start, but faded. So that dropped him from C range to right there. Like that's like a straight up 69 for the culture. Like he's right there at B. Like I still think I think Diamador is going to be a good pick. He just needs some time. Didn't really hit last year. We'll see what he does this year. Has the ability to pop a whole letter grade up if he comes out, has a good year next year. Jaylen Moore, tagged him as a C-. Again, playing at the end of the year was a big part of that grade. And then we move to one of the late bloomers. What do we think of Mr. Late Bloomer Ambry Thomas? Clearly, the man probably doesn't need too much of an introduction, but we'll give him one anyways. Ambry Thomas was a 3rd-round draft selection. He was selected at 102 overall, coming out of Michigan after not playing a full season in 2020. He started in 5 games, 1 interception, 17 solo tackles, 6 assisted, 1 tackle for loss, 5 pass deflections. And I would say his claim to fame last year was the interception against the Rams week 18 to seal it, to send the 49ers to the playoffs with the pick of Matthew Staffy, as we all know. But again, he's a late bloomer, 100%. If you had if we did this and we graded, let's say we did initial grades after training camp. If we did initial grades after training camp, Ambry probably would have got a D-. And that's just because we don't give F grades. I might do that this year when I go back to training camp this year and we're scouting training camp again. I might have to do a grade, full grading system, kind of similar to this, and we can track and we can follow, because it would be interesting to know how I graded these guys after watching full training camp and then seeing the maturity. Did they go up in grade? Did they go down in grade? So that's probably something that we're going to do. But like I said, if I were to grade Ambry Thomas out of training camp, he would have got a D-, and that's only because I don't give Fs. So, as you can see in the chat, I'm not sure I've seen anything lower than a B. Don Burst says Ambry Thomas is a Detroit boy. Is that why he balling? Jason says continued our season and made our secondary not a repeated liability. Really, when Ambry Thomas started to get in tune, it really felt like the issues that we had with some of the defensive backs kind of kind of subsided a little bit. There's still some stuff there. And again, he was burnt numerous times. But again, in the same context of the discussion, this is a progression. Just because he started out like burnt toast, he didn't finish like burnt toast. And again, he would have got a D minus training camp. Right now, you can see from the chat, we got a C right here from Ziggy, but overall, you're getting a lot of B grades. Getting a lot of B grades. We got a C plus plus. So this is like right there. This is that teacher that just had it out for you. And you did well. You deserved the B, but they're like, no, we're gonna get you. We're gonna hit you a C plus. We're gonna hit you right at the percentage before it pops over to a B. We're gonna hit you a C plus plus. Got to keep that. Got to keep you humble, right? So let's see. Honestly, when it comes down to what Ambry Thomas did last year, and again, going from a pure bust in training camp, like I'm talking about bust, like bust, like we're like again, Jason Aponte was doing a lot more defensive backs than I was, but I would peek up and I would look over the defensive backs. I spent a lot of time watching trenches, evaluating trenches and evaluating offense, clearly Trey Lance and that kind of stuff, trying to see the differences between Jimmy and Trey. But Jason was doing a lot of DBs and he was like, oh, dude, Ambry's toast. One day I was like, all right, I'm going to pay attention. I'm going to pay attention. Oh my God, he was getting worked. So with Ambry, though, you saw the development. You saw again, he's going to be the case study when we talk about rookie development, when we talk about players developing, he will be the case study. He will be the case study going from pure bust looking in training camp to ending the year in the playoffs as a fan favorite almost. And, we saw him week 14 against the Bengals get toasted by Jamar Chase. Two crazy penalties, one that resulted in taking away a sack from Nick Bosa, another penalty that resulted in taking away a pick from Jimmy Ward. So not only did he get toasted, but he made two boneheaded plays against the Bengals. Okay. Falcons game, right? Remember? Okay, now we're like, oh, he's in position. He's just getting mossed. He's getting mossed by Russell Gage. It was like he almost had two picks in that game. He almost had two picks. So he's in position. You could tell, just a little late. Then against Titans, and he got AJ Brown. Oh, welcome to the NFL, young Ambry. And when Ambry, I really believe that Ambry going up against AJ Brown, and again, AJ Brown's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, whether you agree, disagree, he is. Yeah, from a pure physicality standpoint, AJ Brown's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. Now, yeah, was it his first game back? Still. That was Ambry Thomas's third start in the NFL. And getting that task, I really think gave him a ton of confidence. I think it gave him a ton of confidence because he did a phenomenal job on AJ Brown. I believe he gave up a total of 46 receptions to AJ Brown on that Thursday night football game against the Titans and really played well. And the one huge play that they made on him was just like, oh crazy play. Like Tannehill rolling out to his left, like sidearm slinging a dime 40 yards down the opposite side of the field. And you just get AJ Brown high pointing. Hey, sometimes you get the bear, sometimes the bear gets you. That's how it works. So overall, though, Ambry Thomas and his maturation process to then being like the like hammer fist getting the 49ers into the playoffs with the interception that he had against the Rams. Like That is some nice development. That is some nice development. Make sure you smash that like button. We're only about 8 likes away. You can do it. You can do it. So Ambry Thomas. Let's see. What did I give him? Okay. This is what I give Ambry. I give Ambry a solid B. Boom, another B boy. Let's go. We got another B boy. We got 2 B boys so far. First B boy. Let's go. We did it. 100. Let's go. Squad. Shout out to Sourdough Squad for liking up the video. Appreciate you. Now let's see if we get to 175. That's the goal. Let's hit it. So I gave him a B. Birdman's loving it. Let's go. Birdman's loving it. I gave him a B because now Ambry, like the way Ambry finished, like you can make the case like A minus. Like he finished almost like at an A minus level. Like 3rd round pick, 102nd overall, not playing in 2020, to then finish as a starting cornerback in the NFL and playing pretty well. I'm just saying. Pretty good. Pretty good. So I'm going to keep him at a B. I think there's trajectory and development that will continue to get better. So maybe next year we're talking about Ambry and pegging him as an A. But I would say based on 3rd round draft pick grade, 3rd round value, getting his first real playing time week 14. That's the big part. He really did not play week 1 to week 13 when the 49ers needed cornerbacks. So desperate for cornerbacks that they went to go get Josh Norman. That's why he's just a B, because he did not play, and that's fine. Kyle talked about it. He said he credited our good friend of the show, Mr. Josh Norman, for allowing Ambry time to get in and develop behind the scenes so that when he did come in, he was ready. So we'll take that. But again, from week 14 on, from week 16 on, you could say if you were graded from week 16 on, you're like, he's an A. 3rd round pick, starting cornerback, what he did from week 16 on, that's an A. But overall score, understanding, it's the whole season. We recognize it's not how you start, it's how you finish. He finished probably one of the best out of all the rookies, but we're going to give him a B. Whole season accounted for, B. He has an opportunity to go up even more. So that's where I'm sitting with Ambry. So again, Ambry started out as a bust. Like in all, like every sense of the word, Ambry started out as a bust, man. So just, it's important to remember when we again are going to be talking about these prospects, when we are talking about maybe guys who didn't have great years this year, but again, not everyone develops the same exact way. Ambry Thomas is a perfect example of someone who is raw as hell, but when you stick them out there a little bit, you give them an opportunity and you let them learn on the job, get the reps, good things happen. So far, I feel like we're all in pretty good. We're vibing. I think we're vibing. Our grades have been pretty close. So shout out the chat. Chat's doing a great job. Again, Sourdough Squad. It's the best squad out there. Smartest group of fans, if you ask me. But I think we're going to take a little bit of a turn here. I think we're going to take a little bit of a turn. So we had the great conversation about Ambry. Ambry is a shining star of development. And that conversation will now transfer over to this man. Now, this man is probably going to be hurt most, or he's going to be up there with being hurt by the draft value. So let's drop it now. Drop your grades. What are you, the Sourdough Squad, grading running back Trey Sermon? And while you drop your grades in, we'll do a little bit of a recap. Trey Sermon was a 3rd-round pick, number 88 overall. But this is going to be the biggest bane of Trey Sermon's existence, at least amongst fans and, probably the evaluation of the front office. They traded not 1, but 2 draft picks to get up to the 88th overall pick. What picks were those? They traded the 117th. So 117 was a 4th rounder. So 117 dropped about, or they came up about 40 picks, I guess, from 117. But it wasn't just 117. It was 117 and 121. So 2 4th rounders. And there's some decent talent in that range of 117 to 121. Again, 49ers proved with the situation that if you get a guy like Elijah Mitchell in the 6th round, what a guy you can do, or it's a value thing. This is a value situation. So again, we talked about the compensation, right? When it comes to production, he had 41 rushes, 167 yards, and 1 touchdown. He had 1 start. That 1 start came against Green Bay Packers, week 3. Again, we had no healthy running backs. Trenton Cannon, and that was when we had Kerryon Johnson on the roster. Those were the only 3 running backs on the squad at that point. So, oh my God, dude. The first 4 grades in the chat are brutal. Oh my goodness. The first 4 grades for Trey Sermon are brutal. We got a G- from Dylan. We got a B- for Bust. Oh my God. D+. Okay, that's good, I guess. We got a Z. F-, Z+, D-, D, D-, D- since you don't like F's. D for the ministry. So this is where it starts to get a little haywire a little bit. And again, when you trade up, it's an admission. We like this guy. That's our grade. Cedric's being nice and just going to go not applicable, no grade can be given. I think there's a grade given because now we're in the part of the conversation of value, draft value. And the reason why this one looks so bad is not only did they take him in the third, but they traded two valuable, valuable 117, 121. You can get quality players there. They traded two fourth round draft picks, early fourth round draft picks, to move up to get him. And he got a start. We got a start out of him. We saw promise in that start. And from a traits perspective, I like his traits. I still think he's got the baseline traits needed to be a good running back. But, just like the same things that you would hear me critique Elijah Mitchell for, I don't think he had great vision. I don't think that he showed a ton from a vision standpoint. Like, to me, I kind of watched the guy who's like, does he really know how to run behind his zone? Is it just something that is going to take more time to gel behind the offensive line and what they're trying to do? I see the traits though. Like it's like he's raw for our offense, but I see what he has, and it makes me excited. It's just, can he realize it? Can he realize it? Luke says, let's wrap later, my boy, via IG. Guidance, if you would. Yeah. Trying to think. DM me. Also respond to a story. I think that will be the best way for me to remember, because I guarantee you I will forget the second I step off this live. Respond to one of my stories, Luke, and I'll be able to see that. Respond to a story, and then I'll pull it up to the top amongst the weeds. Let's go. 111 in here, baby. We can get to 175 by Trey Lance. We can get to 175 by Trey Lance. I bet we can. 175 likes by Trey Lance. We can do it. But so far, this clearly, Don Burr saying he's being nice for him. Incomplete. He didn't play. But again, we are grading value here. So it isn't an incomplete. Value's part of it. So that makes it a situation where we have to grade it, because a big part of these grades are value. What could you have gotten? And for reference, what could you have gotten? The 49ers took Trey Sermon, 88th overall. They drafted him over Michael Carter. Michael Carter, 102 out of North Carolina, went to the Jets. He's a great running back. Michael Carter is a fantastic running back. Excuse me. He was a fantastic running back coming out of North Carolina, and he continued to prove, guess what? All of those things that I saw on tape, that I saw at the Senior Bowl live with my own two eyeballs. Again, I saw this little dude dragging piles by himself. The physicality side was never a question. If you got to see him play, not even a question. So that's a running back that the 49ers potentially could have had. Michael Carter, Ramondre Stevenson. If you guys are familiar with Ramondre, he was a late round draft pick, or not a late round, he's fourth rounder, running back for the Patriots. Another Senior Bowl guy who had a hell of a year too. Both had better years than Trey Sermon. Were drafted after Trey Sermon. Luke says, starting a tattoo right now, but I'll be listening. Let's go, Luke. Get that work done, my boy. Luke always grinding, man. Luke always grinding. We appreciate you, man. So this is where you grade it. This is where you grade it. You don't grade it based on his skill set, because again, if we're gonna put him in a vacuum, I think their skill set. Like, I don't think he's not talented. I think he's a talented player. It just needs to click. We saw it click a little bit more with Elijah Mitchell at the end of the year. Who knows what Trey Sermon will look like next year? Who knows? So this is a bit of a situation where I think he can still get better, but we're looking at the cost in which it took to get Trey Sermon, comparing that to who was left, who was available, what they gave up to get him, and what he actually produced. When you combine those things together, third round pick, traded 2 fourth-round picks to get him, and he couldn't even beat out Elijah Mitchell, who was a 6th-round pick. He got hurt on special teams. He was playing primarily special teams towards the end. And unfortunately, just didn't. I think they saw after the Green Bay game when they had to put him in, he just wasn't ready. Just wasn't ready. And so we'll see what he looks like next year. But again, if we have to grade it now based on the situation, I'm going to go ahead and give him a solid D. I'm giving him a solid D because, again, I still think there are plus traits. I think he is a plus traits running back. I think he has the ability to have speed, have dirty one-cut ability, good power. Dude is a force to tackle. I think that was one of my biggest takeaways of watching him on film against Green Bay. He's hard to tackle. He is a load. And when he gets a full head of steam, watch out, because he's going to run your ass over. There's a lot of things that I like about Trey Sermon. I don't think Trey Sermon's necessarily a bust. The reason why he gets a D grade is because he didn't contribute. On top of the fact that he didn't contribute, he was a 3rd-round pick in which the 49ers identified as someone who could contribute by sending 2 4th-round picks to the Rams, by the way. Not just anyone. They sent those 2 4th-rounders to the Rams. So that's why he gets a D. He gets a D because they spent a hell of a lot to get him. They drafted him very high. This is the highest that Kyle Shanahan has ever drafted a running back. Not only was it the highest, but they paid to get it, and it didn't work out. So when you draft a guy who's the highest you've ever taken a running back in your tenure, you spent 2 picks to get said player, and he's a non-factor all year. That's more of an indictment on the evaluation. That's more of an indictment on the whoever typed in and punched in the value, right? This is more of a value conversation because he didn't play. So from a value conversation, this is a D pick. Again, guys like, Jordan Elliott, Aponte, we're not going to be big proponents of taking running backs early unless it's the right running back, and or Elijah Mitchell then becomes the case study. What you can get later, again, not only Elijah Mitchell, but one of my draft crushes, Khalil Herbert, running back for the Bears. He was a 6th-round pick. Again, you can find these guys late. So that then comes back to the conversation of value, probably overpaid a little bit. Now, this is where it's going to get real interesting in the chat. I'm going to be very interested to see how this particular dynamic plays out in regards to grading, because when you say incomplete, this is a true incomplete. But again, he gets a grade because what we are. Oh, let's go. Hold on one sec. Hold on one. Did I take myself off the stream? My bad. I took myself off the stream. But essentially what I was saying is they have eliminated the bubble protocol regarding the COVID situation. Um, they will no longer be doing the bubble. So that's good. Let me get this out real quick. All right. Hopefully I'm back. Let me get this post out real quick. And then we'll go back to our grades. We're almost there, baby. 2 more picks. We got 2 more picks to grade and 2 polarizing picks at that. So when we get it back into this and I get this post out, we're going to grade Aaron Banks, and then we are going to grade Trey Lance. Meanwhile, smash that like button. Let's get to 175. We can do it. We're at 132. We can get to 175. I think so. This is going to be a grind, boys. We're going to have to grind this one out. All right, let me get this post done. Hold on. The NFL has removed restrictions. Let's see here. All right. So, what do you guys think about the combine situation? Do you guys think that's good that they kind of like adjusted the rules that they had? Do you think they should have kept the rules? What do you guys think about all the players coming together and agents coming together? And they made this happen quick, man. Okay, but it does sound like it's just they're not doing the bubble part. They're not doing the bubble part. But I think it's a good thing. I think, based on how everything's going, I think it's important to be consistent. It's important to be safe, but I also think it's important to be consistent. And, again, the big cry is, how are you going to go do everything that you did at the Super Bowl a week ago and then completely revert and go beyond even what you probably did prior? I think just being consistent is helpful. Sorry, let me get this out. Almost done. The NFL is just the bubble restrictions for the NFL Combine. All right. Sorry. Big squirrel. Big squirrel. Hopefully. I don't know why it's always difficult to like post, type, talk, and post at the same time. The NFL has reduced the bubble restrictions for the NFL Combine. Okay, we're going to keep it nice and generalized. All right. Okay, let's get back to the grading system. Shall we? Now that I can get these posts out. Let's go Post Malone. Post Malone. All right. Let's get back to the grades. So we are back on track. Let's go. All right. Let's get back to the grades. So this is where we stand up until this point. So kind of recapping, we only have 2 picks left. Shouldn't take too long. Considering both of them didn't really play too much. But we graded 6th round pick Elijah Mitchell, who's the 194th pick, an A+. Talanoa Hufanga, 5th rounder, 180 overall, B. 5th round pick Diamador Lenore, 172 overall. We gave him a D+. Jaylen Moore, 5th round pick, 155th, out of Western Michigan. We gave him a C-. Then we had 3rd round pick Ambry Thomas. He got a B. 3rd round pick Trey Sermon got a D. And now we are on to likely another polarizing draft pick for the San Francisco 49ers is Aaron Banks. What are we going to grade Aaron Banks? I think this is going to be an interesting one. What are we grading Mr. Aaron Banks? And again, he gets a grade because a big portion of the grade is value of their draft selection. So, yes, when it comes to Aaron Banks, I believe he played. There's 3 snaps that I can go back to. There's 3 snaps that I think of. And they came against Jacksonville. And they weren't pretty. They weren't great. He effectively didn't win. I think 1 rep was kind of a wash where it wasn't anything. It wasn't really a win, wasn't really a loss. And then I think he lost the 2 that he had pretty easily. So with Aaron Banks, we just don't know. And again, I was very adamant about this being at training camp, putting my eyes on Aaron Banks. I was like, oh yeah. There's a reason Brunskill's starting. Absolutely. There's a reason why Brunskill's starting. It just, he went from left guard to right guard. So he was left guard in college. They transferred him over to right guard. And like I talked about last year, offensive line is just a really hard position to develop at. And clearly he needed some time to develop. But, I think, again, what we're looking at is we are looking at the draft grade, and the draft grade is a C. And when we're looking at the draft grade, we're looking at guys like Azeez Ojulari, who I believe led all rookies in sacks, was, again, draft crush of mine. A guy that the 49ers easily could have had a need for with edge. He's a speed rusher specifically. They opted not to go that route. They went with Banks. They also could have went Trevon Moehrig. You've heard me talk about Trevon Moehrig. They traded out of their original selection with the Raiders, and the Raiders took Trayvon Moehrig. So it is a bit of an incomplete grade, right? So that is but what we're talking about is draft value too. So again, 48th overall, second rounder in a year where this team said they were Super Bowl or bust, right? Their goal was to get back to this, and they almost did it. They almost did it. But would this look a little bit different if maybe it wasn't Banks and it was a uh, edge rusher who could have gotten 6 to 7, 8 sacks on the year on the edge, and then drafting a guy like Quinn Miners in the late third. Um, Quinn Miners was a starter for the Broncos this year. I think Kendrick Green, who was in the third or fourth round, was started every game for the Pittsburgh Steelers at center this year. So those are the things. Again, when you draft interior early like this, typically you draft the interior to be plug and play. You're drafting them to kind of be either day one starter caliber, or at least reach that point of being a long-term starter in the NFL. So far this year, unfortunately, was a wash. We don't know what Aaron Banks is. Up until this point, he still has all the traits, but how will that develop? How will that season, with the year of sitting behind these guys? We don't know. So it is a bit of an incomplete. But again, if we do have to account for draft value, second round pick, a guy who really didn't play, it's honestly, it's not great value for um a slot that we could have used uh a player to contribute. So that being said, um I'm just gonna give him a D. I'm gonna say I think a D's fair. Again, you play 3 snaps or around there, other outside of special teams. It's a hard grade because there's nothing to grade. Um, and I mean, if you're gonna do the value argument, you could argue even a worse off grade. But I'm gonna give him a D because I think he will be a starting caliber offensive lineman. I think he has the tools and the traits. We just got to see it. So I don't think it was necessarily a whiff in the sense like he can't play football. Like he's never going to be a player. He's never going to turn into a starting lineman. It's not what I'm saying. We just don't know. But based on what I've seen of his tape that I've studied at Notre Dame, and what I've seen of him in the league, I still see the traits. It's just how can he continue to mature? That is going to be the main topic of discussion during training camp, preseason, all that kind of stuff. Like, what's Aaron Banks going to do? Is he going to be the one that fills in for Laken Tomlinson if Laken Tomlinson does hit free agency and goes somewhere else, which is a real possibility? So there is a world that exists where, hey, you know, maybe that's what they had intended for him, um, to be sitting a year, come and fill in for Laken when Laken goes to free agency, maybe start at right guard over Brunskill. Didn't work out that way. So we're gonna find out. We're gonna wait and see. But the probably the grade that another polarizing one that could go in a bunch of different directions is the grade of Trey Lance. Now, again, because we are taking into account um, draft capital, that was given in trades to get said player, That's a part of Trey Lance's story. So a part of Trey Lance's story is giving up first round picks in 2021 or 2022 and 2023. They also gave up a third round pick in 2022. So a first and third in 2022, first rounder in 2023, and of course the 12th overall pick of last year's draft class. So essentially feels like three first rounders. I know they went from 12 to 3, so it wasn't like a straight up three first rounders, but it feels like that. So again, they go from 12 to 3. They give up 2020 first rounder, 2023 first rounder, as well as a 2020 third rounder. So that's a good amount of draft capital. So based on the draft capital given up for Trey Lance, the fact that he was able to play 2 games, he came away with a win in one of them against the Texans. What would you grade Trey Lance? Again, this is a value conversation. So all the compensation given up to go get Trey, then what Trey did in 2020, he had the first touchdown on the year, right? He threw that touchdown pass in the Detroit game. Overall, his statistics, he had a 57% completion percentage. He was 41 out of 71 attempts for 603 yards, 5 touchdowns through the air, and 2 interceptions. He also added 38 rushes, 168 yards, and 1 touchdown, 1 win, 1 loss. What are we grading Trey Lance? Make him dance. What are we grading him at? What are we grading him at? Let's see what we got. Make sure I want to start at the top. Trey gets a C+ so far, says Raptor. Brad says C. Michael says B-. Wasn't Trey's fault. He was underutilized in 2021. Dylan says C. He's right in the middle right now. Haven't seen much, so we really got to wait and see. I know. My team over yours says B, soon to be A+. Lil Will says B+ because he did well, did win a game for us. Talking about a must-win game, Week 17. Again, don't forget the context. That Texans team just whooped the Chargers. Justin Herbert, Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams whooped them. So that wasn't a gimme win. That game against the Texans was not a gimme. So kind of all over the place. We got a C+ here, B+, C+, B-. Let's see, B+, B+, B-. Simon says you can make the argument that we wouldn't manage to make the playoffs without him. Individually, he played relatively well against Arizona. He did. He probably played one of the best against Arizona, if you had to ask my opinion, out of all the players that actually played on that offense that day. And he added value to the defense on scout team. Great point, Simon. Great point by Simon on the value to the defensive scout team. Something that I didn't think about. Again, something that's relatively fresh in all our minds. We saw a couple clips come out of Trey Lance. We saw a couple of those come out. And yeah, he was putting it on them. He was putting it on those guys. Jason says could have beat out Jimmy G at 21. Hey, I was saying it all camp. I thought, you know me. I had my tinfoil hat on. Even though they weren't running a competition, Trey wasn't getting reps with the ones. Like it wasn't a competition. But the whole time, what was I saying? I was like, Trey's good enough to be a starter week 1. I said that all training camp. I was like, I see Jimmy, I see Trey, I see what they're doing. I don't see a world exists where Jimmy Garoppolo is exponentially better than Trey Lance. And this is how I always talk about it. It's like if your rookie is going to provide about the same level as your veteran, you go with the rookie. That's just my own philosophy. Again, I'm an ageist. I want the young guys to get in as quickly as possible, develop as quickly as possible. And from training camp, again, that's what I was on this channel, on everything. That's what I was talking about. Trey Lance should and could have been the week 1 starter. Does appear that he almost had it. But we do recall he did get injured against the Raiders with his throwing index finger. And that kind of sent him back into the shadow realm of backup quarterback purgatory behind Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, looking at Trey Lance overall value, again, that's a huge trade. Like, I'm not sure anyone has really spent that much, or if they have, it's not been a lot. Make sure you smash that like button. We're hecka close to our goal. Hecka close. So with Trey Lance, like, yes, there's a lot that was given up for him, but he was 20 years old at the time of the pick. So as an ageist, that's good for me. That means I get 4 years or essentially 3 years of developing Trey Lance before he turns 24. That's a huge win. That is a huge win. You're talking about I can put Trey Lance onto potentially 3 contracts, potentially 4 contracts. That's a win. I like the age. I like having him in the system to be able to develop and get even better. So with Trey Lance, it looked like the average grade. There's a lot of A's, a lot of B's, lots of C's. There's a lot of A's, a lot of B's, lots of C's. I'm gonna hit the boy with a solid B minus. Giving him a B minus, and again, a big portion of that being a B minus, maybe opposed to a B, maybe opposed to a B plus, is the fact that they traded a lot to get him. They traded a lot to get him this year, and he didn't really play. Did he play? Of course. We talked about how much he played, but to me, when I saw that move, I saw the draft capital given up. It signaled to me that they were ready to go, rock and roll with Trey now. So that's why my value is slid a little bit, is because I saw a move that was made to get a starting quarterback, and to you made the move, but for last year in 2021, he wasn't used that much. And him being in the locker room created a lot of drama. Now, the drama ultimately ended up galvanizing the team. They were able to get things going together, and they were able to get it to right direction. They made it almost to the Super Bowl. But I can guarantee you that wasn't the best way to develop Trey Lance. Like pitting him against the franchise leader in the locker room, and he's a new kid on the block, and they're like, "Yeah, you're a cool new kid, but you're not our quarterback. That's Jimmy Garoppolo's our quarterback." Like, yeah, well, we'll see how he comes back from that, and that will be a tag that we like. Well, how did that benefit him? Did that benefit him in a good way? Did that knock him back a few steps from a confidence standpoint? Those are going to be things that we continue to watch and see, because it was clear that him being drafted wasn't like a welcomed thing. So it caused issues. It caused dissension. It caused the 49ers to lose likely 4 games in a row. I really think that's part of it. I really think that was part of it. But, able to watch the year progress, watch him play against Arizona week 5. I thought he did really well week 5 against Arizona. Again, for it being his first game, them running an offense that didn't match what they were doing the 4 weeks prior. And again, being at training camp and knowing that they didn't run those offenses with the first team unit, specifically the offensive line. So I knew it was going to be crazy and just weird. And that's kind of what we got against Arizona. We actually kind of got that against the Texans in the first quarter. It was, again, that just weird offense that had no rhythm, no nothing. And they started to like switch it up a little bit in the second half, and the offense came to life, and Trey Lance looked like a quarterback. So I think Trey Lance, if I had to put Trey Lance in a vacuum, is probably an A+, because he's probably the number 1 pick in this draft class. So if you look at all the quarterbacks, he's probably the only one where you're beating your chest like he's going to be the number 1 unquestioned first player taken in this draft class, the 2022 draft class. So again, that's a good thing. You're still getting a guy who arguably was the best quarterback in a loaded quarterback class. And clearly he would have been the best best quarterback in a weak draft class. So talent-wise, I think he's worth it. I think we've seen enough from an arm talent perspective, from a rushing ceiling perspective, that we know he has elite tools and he has elite traits. But now we need to see it come together, right? As a just complete quarterback. That's it. Just needs to be a complete quarterback. Can you do the small things right? Can you can you be a leader of men? Can you lead a locker room? Can you get all your players in and out of plays, know exactly what they need to do, be able to communicate seamlessly from Kyle to your group? Those are the small things that we don't really think about. And again, can a 21-year-old step up and lead a group of alphas that rejected him the year prior? That is going to be the biggest development. How does Trey Lance come into OTAs? How does he come into mini camp and training camp next year? What is his mentality like? Is he gun shy? Is he screw the world? Like, I'm the leader. I think that's going to be the biggest thing. So with Trey, everything that comes with experience and maturity, we understand. Being a strong leader, you got to go out and do it. You got to execute it. You got to be in the war with these guys. You got to be on the front lines, fighting these battles, and that helps. He really hasn't had much of an opportunity to do that, and if he did get an opportunity, it was because it was something to do with Jimmy. It had nothing to do with him. So I think in a perfect world, I think Trey Lance will be a good quarterback. I think he needs time, clearly. Needs experience, needs reps, needs to get out there and do it. At a certain point, you got to live and die with the mistakes and understand it's part of the process. He's got to do things. He's got to learn. They're retooling his mechanics. He's still a bit of a project, but I think he will be a project that eventually ultimately is successful and turns out for the 49ers. Now, that can change because oh yeah, it's a progress report. Remember, progress report, it's a B. It's not an A. He didn't play. Can't name it an A. Gave up a ton. He's high traits, high tools, high character. So far, so good. Now we just got to refine it. Oh boy. So yeah, I like Trey Lance at a B, and that's what we got for our grades. So overall, looking at the prospects, Elijah Mitchell A plus, Talanoa Hufanga B, Diamador Lenore D plus, Jaylen Moore C minus, Ambry Thomas B, Trey Sermon D, Aaron Banks D, Trey Lance. Oh, I said B minus. I said B minus, not B. B minus. B minus. And that being said, what would you guys, and this will be our final grade, final grade. What would you grade the draft class itself, the whole thing? 2021 draft class, what grade are you giving it? Also, make sure you smash that like button. We're pretty damn close away. We're pretty close. We can do it. But let's grade the overall draft class. Dylan gives it a B. Hendrick gives it a C minus. Fetching the break says, so all of this roughly averages out to about a C or C plus, maybe a B minus. Jesus says B. DJ says smash that like button because it's SDS for life. Louis says B plus. Jago Cray says C plus. B. C plus. B. B. Ace says solid C minus. DJ's throwing out B. Shades of Shardall throwing out D. He must not like Kyle very much. Cap speaking says B minus. Lil Will says C plus. B minus. Only 20 away, folks. Smash that like button. Hendricks bringing this logic to the forefront. It can't be a B when only 3 players played. C minus for me. And again, it's important to remember we are grading progress. So it's a bit undefined. I will give you my grade. I will give this draft class. Ooh. Okay, I'll tell you, I'll explain my thought processes. I am hovering around a C plus, B minus, trying to decide which way I should go. Again, a lot of value given up. A lot of picks given up to get Trey. Picks given up to get Trey Sermon. 2 players that really didn't, besides Trey and his involvement in the 2 games, other than those 2 games, Trey, Sermon, both Treys, 2 Treys, didn't really get it. But I love the projection of what Trey Lance could be. I love the projection of what Ambry Thomas could be. I love the projection of what Elijah Mitchell could be. Talanoa could be. I'm going to give it a B minus. Overall grade for this draft class. Again, it's a progress report. It's not a grade because we need to see multiple years to be able to give a definitive grade. But based on our initial review, I am giving this draft class a B minus. I think it was pretty good. Again, you can question the value here or there. But I'm going to give it a B because I still think it's going to get better. I think there's upward trajectory. I think there's going to be progressions from guys like Trey Lance, Aaron Banks, Trey Sermon that we didn't see a ton from. And then I also think that will help even out the grades. It's going to be interesting what we get from Diamador Lenore. It's It's going to see how the guys that we did see show promise actually elevate moving forward. So I'm excited to see what this grade turns into. We could very well come back to this at the end of next year and be like, oh yeah, the 2021 draft class, A plus, plus, plus. Because if we're rolling out Trey Lance at starter, quarterback at cornerback, we have a solid 1-2 punch of Trey Sermon and Elijah Mitchell. We get Ambry Thomas starting. We get Diamador potentially starting in the slot. You get Talanoa potentially, like Aaron Banks start. All of a sudden, those players start turning into starters. The grade changes exponentially. So I think B- is fair. C+ is probably accurate. I would say C+, B-, give or take. It's kind of where I'm sitting. And we only need 22 more likes, guys. Only need deuce. Smash that like if you haven't, because we're not leaving until we hit that goal. 175 likes. We need 22 more. We can do it. So that's our grades. I thought that went pretty well. That was kind of fun. But I think overall it's a pretty decent draft class. I think it was a good draft class. Let's go. On our way. 15. Can't get out of here until we get 15. There are some quarterback rumors, but it's the same stuff we talked about last week. Tom Brady crap. I might save it for tomorrow. It's not a ton to get into, but we might talk about it. So we're close, guys. Oh, we're close. We are close. But yeah, overall, I like the draft class. I think I see a lot of development. I like the development. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Jason. I'm trying to get away from all the quarterback talk. There's so much quarterback rumors that I honestly I don't want to come on here every single day and be like, hey, more quarterback rumors. So trying to mix it up, trying to do a little bit more in-depth content. You know what I mean? We talk about the quarterback rumors literally any day of the week. Any day of the week, because they're not going to stop. They are not going to stop. They're going to keep going. It's going to be Tom Brady. It's going to be Aaron Rodgers. It's going to be Peyton Manning next. Now, I will say I'll have to, because boy, those quarterback rumors get them stats and views. Nah, I feel you guys. Like, it's just to a point where it's like, exactly. Like, we're talking about something that's like what, 5-10% chance of potentially happening at this current stage. So I feel it. Ooh, how do I feel about my king? You know how I feel about my king, Steph. God, I love Steph. I've got at least 3 Steph jerseys. I got his Davidson jersey. I got a City Steph jersey. I think I got another Steph. I got a Draymond jersey, the Christmas, 2019 Christmas jersey or 2018 Christmas jersey. I don't have Clay. I need Clay. Bunch of Steph, a Dre. So yeah. Quick 2019 draft grade. Quick. Okay, I'll give you a quick one. We only got 9 more likes. We only need is 9 more, and then we Gucci. Then the Sourdough Squad did it. But while we're getting those 9 likes in, let's see. Let me pull it up. I just want to make sure I don't miss anyone. Full list of 2019 NFL Draft. First round pick, Nick Bosa. Second round pick, Deebo Samuel. Third round pick, Jalen Hurd. Oh, God. Pain. Fourth round pick, Mitch Wishnowsky. Fifth round, Dre Greenlaw. Sixth round, Caden Smith. Sixth round, Justin School. Tim Harris in the sixth round. Quick grade while we get to those 9 likes. If I had a grade, I mean, it's again top heavy. You have to give it an A. You have to give the 2019 NFL Draft an A because of Bosa. Oh, we get it. Boom. Let's go. Let's go. Squad. I don't know if I believe Shades of Chardal quite yet. I don't know. We'll see. But we got it. Let's go. Big dubs. Dubs in the chat. We see the SDS. Hey, we got to grind a little harder in the off season. Bro, when we started doing this in season, it was easy to get those likes up, man. We had to grind. We had to grind a little bit more this the off season time. But yeah, this is the point. When you get Deebo Samuel and you get Nick Bosa in the same draft, it's automatically an A. Like automatically. Now we can make fun of the Jalen Hurd pick, the Mitch Wishnowsky pick, the Caden Smith pick because they hit on Caden Smith. They just let him go. They thought they could get him back around on the practice squad. Did not work out. He's still on the Giants. I really did not like that move, and it's proven to be one that they're still trying to fix. They're still trying to find that tight end too. Warner did a good job because clearly Dwelly took a step back. But when you get Greenlaw's turned into a starter. So you got out of the 2019 draft, you got 2 All-Pros. You got 2 additional starters. And School was the swing tackle before he got injured, and they made a dumb move by cutting Caden Smith, who would still be on this roster, making an impact if they didn't do that. So, yeah, that's an A-plus draft. That is an A-plus draft. It's great. Good stuff. Let's go. Dylan's eating Victory Donuts for getting to 270 or 175. Shout out DJ. Shout out DJ, always getting us going on the likes, making sure DJ set the goal today and we hit it. Love it. I feel like I miss super chats now that I think about it. I missed this. Missed this one. Justin says, don't forget Trey threw that first touchdown in Detroit, right? And Jimmy went on KMBR because he's threatening the starting job. I don't remember that. I vaguely remember him going on to KMBR, but I don't remember the context and what he talked about. I don't remember what he talked about on that specific interview he did with KMBR, but I kind of remember what you're talking about. I almost missed that one. Justin. Appreciate that. He sent that probably like a half an hour ago. He's probably not even on the stream anymore. Oh, Alex, thank you. I appreciate the A grade. But there are definitely much better YouTubers out here that talk about the Niners than me. But I do appreciate the compliment. I'll take any compliments that I can get. Um, I do appreciate it. Um, there's definitely much more talented people who do this than I do, but I appreciate you. Appreciate the sourdough squad. We had a good one today. We really didn't talk about quarterbacks, so I guess that's a W. We actually talked about a draft class. We had kind of locked in content. That was a good stuff. Good stuff, guys. We didn't talk Tom Brady. We just did almost a 2-hour live, and we didn't talk about Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers. That's a win. That's a win, especially fresh off Mr. Florio saying, "Oh, Tom Brady's going to be a Niner week 1." Shut up, Florio. We're going to talk about the draft. Screw you. Screw you, Florio. We're not going to run with that clickbait today. Maybe tomorrow. But not today. Not today. So Jesus says, "Have you seen Arnold Ebuketi from Penn State? Penn State. Want to see him and Bosa? Yes. Shout out Niner Detail. You'll see him in the chat every once in a while. He had posted like a little highlight of Ebuketi, number 17 from Penn State, in his story. And I saw like 2 plays, and I was like, "Oh, he's a traits guy. He's yeah." So I haven't studied Ebuketi, but you can tell like, oh, there's potential there. So I can't wait to study him. I can't wait to study him. But yeah, on the surface, from what I've seen, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Can't wait. Can't wait. Thoughts on Marcus Jones from Houston in this class, primarily a slot cornerback, but a very versatile defender. Has also very good on kick punt returns and even snaps as wide receiver. I like this guy. He's actually been a guy that I've been kind of targeting in my mocks. I think right 3rd to 4th round for a potential cornerback prospect. So far, I liked what I've seen out of him. I think he could be a good fit, especially if we don't know what's going on at slot corner, and we don't know if they believe in Demo or not. We'll see. But yeah, Marcus Jones, he's been someone that I've been kind of targeting in my mocks in that kind of area, if that's what we needed. All that good stuff. Oh, the mod meetup. We'll have to do something at one of these games, one of these times, man. Mod squad undefeated, sourdough squad, all over the place. All right. I think that's good. We got about 2 hours in today. It's pretty solid 2 hours. Sourdough squad on point today. I know a bunch of you stuck around from start to finish. Collect your cookies at the door. We have a nice assortment of mixed bag. You want chocolate chip, you want oatmeal, you want peanut butter. Doesn't matter. We got them at the door on your way out. Make sure you grab a cookie for staying the entire time. We salute you. We thank you. Again, it's a figurative cookie. It's not real. But again, shout out the guys. Shout out the squad. We appreciate you guys always rocking with your boy. And we will be back for more content. Again, I am trying to not stay away, but be more well-rounded. I don't want to be the only thing that we talk about is reactionary. I don't want I don't want to just come on here to react to rumors. So I'm going to try to be more consistent with how we do our content, more structured content than just reaction content. So I'm slowly ramping up. I'm ramping up. We're about 65%. 65%. When I get to 100, it's going to be wild. But right now, today went from 25% to 65%. We'll see what happens at 100. I'll check Luke's DMs 100%. Call-in shows is something that's been asked a bunch. Now that I have more time, it'll be something that I think about. Mock drafts. I've been doing a hell of mocks. I need to post my mock draft article, and then once I do my mock draft article, then all the other content follows in place. So we'll do lives, we'll do IG posts. So if it doesn't happen today, maybe tomorrow. I'm sorry. If it doesn't happen this week, maybe next week. We got to see. Maybe do one for, I don't know. We'll see. But I know I was just thinking about it today, and I was like, I can't believe it's February 21st, and I haven't done a mock draft yet. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right, but it's coming. We missed you, Justin. We missed you. But that's what we got. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll have more content per usual, and we'll do it all again. Shout out the Sourdough Squad. Appreciate you guys.